The wedding day. It was a bright and beautiful morning. The sun was shining and the sky was clear and blue. Birds were singing and the air was fresh and cool. Everything was perfect. Today was Emily's wedding day. She woke up early and looked at her dress. It was white, long and beautiful. She smiled softly. She had dreamed of this day for many years. She was happy and excited. Her family was busy with preparations. Her mother was in the kitchen, making breakfast for the guests. Her father was outside, talking and laughing with friends. Her younger sister was running around, full of energy. Her friends were decorating the house with flowers and lights. Everyone was excited and full of joy. The house was filled with love and laughter. Emily's heart was full of happiness. She was ready to start a new life. She thought about John, her fiancé. He was kind, smart, and funny. He always made her smile, even on bad days. He loved her deeply, and she loved him too. They had been together for 3 years. They had shared many happy moments, traveled to new places, and made wonderful memories. He was her best friend and the love of her life. She believed he was the perfect man for her. The wedding was in a big, beautiful garden. Flowers covered the area, and the scent of roses filled the air. Chairs were arranged in neat rows, and a long red carpet stretched down the middle. The guests were arriving dressed in elegant clothes. Some held gifts, and others took pictures. Soft music was playing in the background. Everything looked magical. Emily stood in front of the mirror, taking a deep breath. She looked at her reflection in the glass. Her dress was perfect, and her hair was styled beautifully. She felt nervous, but happy. Her mother hugged her tightly. "You look beautiful, my dear," she said warmly. Emily smiled, feeling her love. She took another deep breath. It was time to go. She walked to the door, her heart beating fast. She stepped outside, feeling the warm sun on her skin. The guests turned to look at her, their faces full of admiration. They smiled and some took pictures. She saw John standing at the front, waiting for her. He looked handsome in his black suit, his hair neatly styled. Her heart felt warm. She felt lucky to have him. But then something happened. She saw John talking with his friends. He was laughing loudly, but his laugh was different. It was not his usual laugh. It was loud, strange, and cold. He did not look nervous. He did not look excited. He looked different. Emily felt something inside her heart, a strange feeling. Something was wrong. Emily kept walking slowly. Her heart was still beating fast. She tried to ignore the strange feeling. Maybe she was just nervous. Maybe it was nothing. She smiled at the guests and took deep breaths. She wanted to be happy. This was her wedding day. Everything was supposed to be perfect. She reached the front and stood beside John. He turned to her and smiled, but his smile felt different. It was not warm. It was not full of love. It was just a smile. Emily felt a small pain in her heart. She wanted to believe she was wrong. She wanted to believe he was the same man she loved. The ceremony started. The guests sat quietly. The officiant spoke in a calm voice. Emily tried to focus, but she felt distracted. She kept looking at John. His face looked serious now. He was not holding her hand. He was not looking at her. He was looking somewhere else. She felt cold inside. Then she noticed something. John's friend whispered something to him. John smiled, but not at her. He smiled at his friend. Then he laughed softly. It was a secret laugh, a private joke. Emily did not understand, but she felt it again. That strange feeling. It was growing stronger. She looked at his hands. His fingers moved nervously. He touched his watch, then his suit. He was not calm. He was restless. But why? Was he nervous? Was he thinking about something else? Emily felt her heart ache. Something was not right, but she could not stop the ceremony. The officiant asked John a question. "Do you take Emily to be your wife?" John smiled. He spoke. "Yes, I do." His voice was clear and strong. The guests smiled. Everyone looked happy, but Emily was not happy. Something was wrong, and she could feel it deep inside. She wanted to stop and think. She wanted to ask him questions, but it was too late. The ceremony was almost over. She felt like she was standing in the middle of a storm. Everything was moving too fast. She had dreamed of this moment for years, but now it felt different. It felt strange. Emily felt her hand shaking. She tried to stay calm, but her heart was heavy. She looked at John again. His face was happy, but his eyes were different. They were not shining with love. They were distant, almost cold. She wanted to ignore the feeling, but it was getting stronger. Something was wrong. The officiant continued speaking. Emily heard the words, but they felt far away. She looked at the guests. They were smiling, watching her with warmth. Her mother had tears in her eyes. Her father sat tall, proud and strong. They believed she was happy. They believed this was the best day of her life. She wished she could believe it too. John's friend whispered to him again. This time, Emily saw John's face change. He smirked just for a second. Then he covered it with a polite smile. But Emily had already seen it. It was not the smile of a loving husband. It was the smile of someone hiding something, a secret, a joke, something she was not part of. She thought about their past 3 years together. He was always kind, always sweet. But now, she wondered, had she missed something? Had there been signs? She remembered small things. Times when he was distracted. Moments when he laughed at things she didn't understand. She had ignored them. She had believed in their love, but now she wasn't sure. She tried to breathe deeply. The air felt heavy. The moment felt unreal. She wished she could stop time, think for a while, but everything was moving fast. The ceremony was almost over. Soon she would be his wife. Soon she would belong to him forever. A cold fear crept in her heart. The officiant turned to her. "Do you take John to be your husband?" The words echoed in her ears. She felt every eye on her, waiting, expecting. She opened her mouth, but no sound came out. She looked at John again. His face was calm, but his hands moved nervously. His fingers tapped against his leg. He looked like a man waiting for something to end. She felt frozen. She thought of her future. A life with him. A life where she might always feel like this. doubtful, uncertain, afraid. The feeling in her heart grew stronger. It was not just fear. It was something deeper, a warning, a truth she could no longer ignore. Emily's breath felt heavy in her chest. The world around her seemed to slow down. The guests were waiting, smiling, unaware of the storm inside her. She looked at John, searching for something warmth, reassurance, love, but his face was still the same. Calm, distant, unreadable. She had always trusted him, but now she wasn't sure if she even knew him. The officiant was still waiting. The words hung in the air. "Do you take John to be your husband?" It was a simple question, a question she had always imagined, answering with joy. But now she hesitated. Her voice was stuck in her throat. Her hands felt cold. The weight of the moment pressed down on her. She glanced at her mother. Her eyes were filled with happy tears. Her father looked proud, strong, believing this was the right choice. Her friends watched eagerly, waiting to celebrate. They all believed in this love. They all believed she was about to start a beautiful life. But none of them felt what she felt. None of them saw what she saw. Her heart pounded loudly. She remembered every moment with John, their late-night talks, their laughter, their promises. But now those memories felt distant, like a story she had told herself. Had she been blind? Had she only seen what she wanted to see? The doubt grew stronger, filling every part of her mind. She turned to John again. His hands were still tapping against his leg. He did not look nervous in the way a groom should be. He did not look like a man afraid of losing his love. He looked like someone waiting for a task to be done, someone waiting to move on. The thought sent a sharp pain through her heart. She wanted to run. She wanted to ask him questions. She wanted time to stop. But the moment was here. The choice was now if she said yes. There would be no turning back. If she said yes, she would be his wife forever. Could she live with this feeling? Could she spend her life next to someone she wasn't sure about? The silence stretched longer. The guests began to whisper. Someone cleared their throat. The officiant raised an eyebrow. Emily swallowed hard. She had dreamed of this day her whole life. But dreams could change. Dreams could be wrong. And now she finally saw the truth. She took a deep breath. She looked down at her hands, then back up at John. The answer was inside her. It had always been there. She just needed to say it. Emily's fingers trembled as she stood there. The silence felt heavier with every passing second. She could hear the sound of her own heartbeat, loud and fast, the weight of a lifetime pressed on her shoulders. This was supposed to be the happiest day of her life, but deep inside, she knew something was not right. She lifted her eyes and met John's gaze. He was still waiting, still calm, but there was no concern in his expression, no fear of losing her, no desperation to hear her answer. His lips curled slightly, almost as if he expected her to say yes without thinking. The realization sent a chill through her body. She turned her head slightly, glancing at the guests. Their smiles had faded. Their excitement was turning into confusion. Her mother was still holding back tears, but now there was worry in her eyes. Her father's hands rested on his lap, tense and still. They could sense something was wrong, but they didn't know what she knew. They didn't feel what she felt. Memories flashed in her mind. The first time she had met John, the way he had looked at her, spoken to her, made her feel special. She had believed in that love. She had trusted it. But now she saw the cracks, the times he had laughed at things she didn't understand, the moments he had been distant, yet she had ignored them. She had convinced herself that love was enough. But love was not just laughter and sweet words. Love was trust, understanding, warmth. Love was knowing that the person beside you truly cared. And in this moment, she wasn't sure anymore. She wasn't sure if John was the man she had believed he was. She wasn't sure if he was the right man for her. She felt her throat tighten. The officiant was still waiting. The guests were still watching. The world around her felt smaller, closing in. Her hands felt colder. But inside her heart, something was growing stronger. A truth she could no longer ignore. A voice she could no longer silence. She took another breath. She had to decide. This was her life, her future. No one else could make this choice for her. She had dreamed of this day, but dreams could change. She could change. And right now, she knew what she had to do. She looked at John one last time. Her lips parted slightly. The answer was there, ready to be spoken. Emily's heart raced as she stood there. The silence around her felt heavier with each passing second. This was supposed to be the happiest day of her life, but now she felt trapped. She had spent years believing in this love, trusting John. But at this moment, everything felt wrong. A deep, unshakable feeling inside her told her to stop, to walk away before it was too late. She looked up slowly. The officiant was still waiting. The guests watched with growing confusion. John stood there, his face calm, unreadable. He was not nervous, not afraid of losing her. He was simply waiting, as if her answer was nothing more than a formality. That realization sent a sharp pain through her chest. She had ignored the signs for too long. Now she couldn't ignore them anymore. She took a deep breath, steadying herself. Her hands trembled, but her voice did not. "I can't do this," she said. Gasps filled the room. A wave of whispers spread through the crowd. Her mother's face turned pale. Her father leaned forward in shock. John's expression barely changed. He did not ask why. He did not try to stop her, and that silence spoke louder than words. Emily stepped back, away from the altar. Each step felt lighter, freer. The weight on her chest slowly lifted. She had no idea what the future held, but she knew one thing. She had made the right choice. She had chosen herself, her happiness, her truth, and that was enough. She reached the grand doors of the hall. For a brief moment, she turned back. The world behind her was one she had almost stepped into, but it was not meant to be. With a final breath, she pushed the doors open. The sunlight hit her face, warm and bright. The world outside was waiting. It was hers to embrace. and for the first time in a long time, she felt truly alive. I hope this session was helpful. Please like and subscribe to our channel for more Learn English Daily with Stories. Take care, everyone.